Chubstep.
Jrad.
Creating the oil of judgment.
Steed. Chubstep.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the king of the jungle.
I've contained my rage for as long as possible, but I shall unleash my fury upon you like the crashing of 1,000 waves!
Chorizo tacos. Are you saying chorizo tacos? Don't play around because I'm super hungry.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Yeah, the show started. And the show has started.
There
Welcome
we go.
back to Chubstep.
Welcome
What?
back
Are you
to
talking
Chubstep.
over me this early? Are you talking over me or did we just lag?
I think it's just a lag because I'm not talking over
Never do that again.
you.
Never do that again.
Fair.
Okay.
Fair.
This is
fair.
Diva era. Season 2's Diva time.
Right now, we're not friends. We're enemies.
You come at the king,
Mm-hmm.
you best not miss.
Well, I would never marry you. I'll tell you that much. Little
Nice.
teaser. Little teaser.
Nice, Steed. I like
Before we
it.
jump into it.
I like it. Yeah. All right. Well, then you start. You start it off. What's been going on with you?
Okay. What has been going on with me? I drove, well, I was in New Mexico and then Phoenix, visiting little babies, who I am related to.
Yes.
So
You're
the
not just
cops
visiting
didn't,
random babies.
yeah, cops didn't get involved.
Good.
Very cute. My niece is in love with she's, a girl. She's 3,
Sure.
and she's in love with the movie Mulan, but not for Mulan. She's in love with the character General Shang.
General Shang. I'm going to have to remember who General Shang is.
Yeah, he pops his shirt off and then sings I'll Make a Man Out of You.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he quickly pops his shirt
Oh,
off
yeah.
and
No,
it's
this guy
very
is hot.
clear
I know what
that
you're talking about. Okay. Yeah. He's,
yeah.
somehow
Yeah, and
I'll make
my
a
little niece is in
man
love
out
with
of
him.
you.
hmm And she honored me with a bracelet, a friendship bracelet with beads that say Paul Paul Shang. She said, "You're worthy of the Shang title."
Wow.
I was very
I'm looking at
honored.
this guy, Steed, although you could definitely pull this off. The hair would be a little tough. You could do a pull a wig though. But
Yeah, I was thinking
he
I just
has
use some paint.
he has a very broad, I'm going to share my screen here. Is a very broad
Yeah, he's very broad.
shoulders.
Mhm.
It's like you could be just as in shape, but he is just as that wide kind of.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
just
mean genetically, this guy's
yeah.
out of control.
That's gonna be tough to stop. I get
Yeah,
it. Here, Lola, good taste. You have good taste. I get it.
yeah. Oh, I love Shang.
Oh yeah.
hmm
I get it.
So that's basically what I did. Then I just drove my car from Phoenix
Nice.
to Reno. Spent a night in Reno. Reno slots will get you.
Yeah.
Um, they're not as forgiving as Vegas slots or even Illinois
Yeah.
slots. They'll
Sure.
get you. They'll get you hard. Um, our whole country is a desert. I've been saying this from the beginning. People never listen to me, but 95% of our country is just a big ass desert. Go drive
And
through it.
and you hate it?
Not everybody can afford a plane like you, Jared. Okay,
I've,
complaining
I've
about
driven
your
from
water not
I have
coming.
driven from Chicago to Seattle before, Stayed.
Yeah, the northern route.
Yeah. Okay.
You were too
I've
far
also
north.
driven between Las Vegas and Arizona.
How many trees
Um,
did you see?
no, not a lot of trees. No, it's valid. There's a lot of desolate spots of this country.
Yeah, it's crazy. They don't
Yeah.
teach you that in school.
No. No.
They're like, "Woo, look at America's so great," and I'm like, "Fucking drive through it. It's scary out
Yeah.
there, man."
No, there actually is a ton of spots of America just suck driving through. It's like, oh yeah, do this great road trip. Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't
Yeah,
see people. I didn't see any cars or buildings for like an hour
yeah,
at some points, and I'm just like, "What? I don't have service." I took a wrong turn. I was actually not supposed to go to Reno. I didn't have service, and I had to guess when I came up to a T. The highway just ended. And I was
yeah.
like, I guess I'm going left. And I went left, and that was the road to Reno.
Oh, good. Biggest little city in the world, Steed.
Yeah, it's a pretty big city actually.
Yeah, I know it is actually pretty big. I've only I
Yeah, I
flew
did
into the
like it.
airport and I drove from there, but I've never spent time in Reno.
Do it. If you're, it's just like Vegas, except it's more depressing.
Good.
But the hotels are really cheap.
Okay, deal. It's a
Yeah,
cheaper,
it's like a
shittier
hundred
version of
bucks
Las
a night.
Vegas. Speaking of depressing places, Steed, uh I flew out of Albany, New York,
Oh yeah.
this past weekend.
Hmm.
That's a rough town, man. You been there?
I've never actually been to Albany, but it just seems like it's you're in New York and everybody is so focused on either New York or Buffalo or
Yeah.
Syracuse. And Albany's like, we're the capital, dude, we're the capital. And everyone's like, shut the fuck up, Albany.
I so I was this is the part of the reason we're going this because I'm in kind of wedding season right now. I've got 3 weddings in 4 weeks is and they're all in different parts
Jesus
of the
Christ.
country.
Oh my God.
So this past weekend we flew into Newark, New Jersey, kind of a dumb town.
Yeah,
Fancy airport though. Fancy airport.
I
Guy
have heard
Fieri's
good things
Flavor
about the
Town is
airport.
there. I actually was in a Guy Fieri Flavor Town sponsored airport 2 weeks in a row. Burbank Airport and Newark.
He
2 weeks in a
sponsors
row.
them?
Well, I mean, he just has a Flavor Town restaurant there.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean.
And you eat at them,
Um,
right?
I did not eat at either of them,
Oh,
but
okay.
but I was there. I witnessed it. Anyway, flying to Newark, we drive to this wedding was in the Catskills, which is in the technically upstate New York, but not as far north as Albany. So you
Hmm.
drive maybe I don't know 2.5 hours or something like that north of New York, and you'll get the Catskills.
Newark?
Of well, either one, New York or Newark.
New
Uh,
York?
I think Newark is literally just somebody like mumbled New York, and then they're just like, oh yeah, that's the town of
Yeah,
New
but you're
Jersey,
you're saying you flew into Newark, then drove 2.5 hours north of New York?
of Newark or New York City. It doesn't matter. They're right
Oh,
across
New
the river
York
from each
City.
other.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
My bad. My bad. My
All
bad.
good. And you drive two different, and then you're in the Catskills. I've talked
Yeah,
about it on
it's
the show before.
gorgeous. My uncle
It is
lives over
very
there.
pretty. Yeah, very pretty area.
He lives in
Um,
Dover.
nice. I was
Yeah.
in Big
Go
Indian.
Dragons.
I was in Big
Dover
Indian,
Dragons.
which is doesn't seem like it could still be a name, but it is. And and then I flew out of Albany, and Albany, we stopped in Woodstock before that. Spent a few hours there. It's the most hippie town. It's just so funny. It's just all Grateful
They
Dead stuff.
just
It's all
never
stuff
give it
about
up.
yeah, they never give it up. But it's kind of it's nice. It's like it's a fun little small town.
Well, there's
Anyway, go to
probably a large
Albany.
amount of the hippies that just stayed. Like they went to
Yes,
Woodstock and they're like, I
I'm
don't
not
have a
moving.
car. I don't
Yeah,
even know
yeah,
how I got
exactly.
here.
My ride left. I'm stuck.
Yeah. Guess I
So
live in Woodstock now.
fly out of Albany, and my mom's friend lives in the suburbs, and we're like, hey, what is there to do? We got like 3 or 4 hours to kill. What's there to do in Albany? And she says, there's actually nothing to do in Albany. It sucks. So, which
Okay.
first led me to be like, well, why are you living here? Like,
Yep. How good is your job? Oh,
yeah,
it's Steak and Shake. Well, they have those in uh Santa Monica.
exactly. So we literally like drove. I walked around the down to go around the downtown. Not that there, I'm like I probably 4 or 5 different spots of Albany. Tried to look up what are the nicest spots of Albany. Everybody said it's actually the suburbs. It's like not Albany. And I
Yeah.
read all these depressing Reddit posts about Albany.
Oh,
Uh, turns out, yeah, not anything to do there. Really rough
yeah.
town. It's just depressing. Flew out of the airport. Even the airport had the Starbucks closed. The Chick-fil-A
No.
wasn't open. The Burger King closed at 7 p.m.
Oh.
Like,
What time was your flight?
it was 8 o'clock. I like literally
Oh
6:50. I went up to the
no. So you
Burger King
missed
and
it.
they're like, we're closed.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
okay. Anyway, I don't even know where I was going with this. Oh, yeah, we were just talking about depressing parts of the country. Kind of upstate New York State. Parts of it are kind of rough. Parts are really
N
pretty. Parts of it are rough.
yeah, like the cities, but if you just go
Yeah,
out into the woods like it's
yeah, it's
meant
not
for,
exactly,
that's
exactly.
what it's meant for.
Okay, I want to get to weddings though. Weddings, weddings, weddings.
Okay, yeah, that is the topic of the episode.
That is the topic of the episode. I have been to I would have to do the count. I'll try to do it before next week's episode. We did this with my wife. By the end of the year, she's been to 48 weddings.
In a row? Wait, what?
No,
This
just
year?
total in her life. 48
Oh my
weddings
God.
in her life. Um,
Jay, that's too many.
I will have been to 4 this year. The most I ever went to in a year was 8. I
It's
went to
too
8
many.
weddings one year.
I have 2 weddings this year and I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, I'm going to both those weddings with you.
I know, and I can't do it. I just can't
Yeah,
do it. It's
yeah.
too much. I
Uh,
can't.
you know what? I like going now, but here's the thing. Here's what's fun about going to so many is that instantly right after me and my wife, we have a breakdown of because we've been to so many, you could compare and contrast a lot, right? Oh,
Mhm.
what do we rank the food? What do we rank the this? I mean, it's a harsh judgment after. Like, what would we
Yeah.
do this? What do you do this? Uh,
So when I don't know if I will ever get married, but if I do, you and I are gonna have a long talk. You're gonna tell me the best of of both worlds.
I'll have strong feelings. I'll have
Yeah,
strong feelings.
exactly. Like, is a taco bar cliche? We'll find
Yeah,
out. In this episode, we will find out.
we will find out. Yes. Uh,
Um,
yeah. So anyway, I have lots of thoughts on weddings.
I'm sure you do
Yeah.
because you have literally every 4 minutes you're at a wedding.
Yeah.
What we need's a few good taters.
What's taters, Brussels? What's taters, huh?
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Do you want to know when the first ever wedding was? We're gonna do quick
I
wedding
like this.
history.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to this.
Okay, well, idiot. It was in 4,350 years ago in ancient Sumeria. Okay.
That's a place.
Yeah, it is a place. It was actually the first civilization, the birthplace of civilization in the fertile Indus Valley.
Okay. Both places I know.
Yeah. So basically, back in the olden days, this wasn't like a love marriage thing. It wasn't like, oh
Sure.
my God, babe, I love you so much. Oh, you make me so horny. It was it was more of a I want to make sure my kids are my kids and
Oh
this
yeah,
chick ain't hoeing around on the streets of
that's fair.
Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
Okay. So they went to some guy. They're like, you got a hot daughter. Here's like 10 goats, 10 cows, whatever, which we need to bring back because there is a beef shortage right now. And that could be solved
Yes.
with dowries. We'll get into that
I
maybe next
Thank you. I do love
episode.
a good dowry. Yeah.
Yeah, so they give the dowry, and then the guy would be like, all right, here's your bride. And the bride, they're only now allowed to bang other chicks on the side. No more dude banging on the side allowed. But the guys are allowed to bang other chicks on the side and other dudes and other teenage boys on the side.
Oh God, that was part of the rules.
That's the rules, baby.
Oh God.
That's how. So that was kind of like how Greece did it.
Okay.
Okay, because they have all the olive oil in Greece, as we've covered. As we've
Is
covered.
Greek olive oil?
No, they
Picture
had
that
the
more like
olive
Italy
oil.
and Spain, but yeah.
Now the
Okay.
Greeks were first. No, wait, were the
Okay.
Romans first? Everybody had olive oil.
Sure. Who
Whatever.
doesn't like olive oil?
Yeah. So that's was like the original marriage thing.
Okay.
You could have concubines, prostitutes, male teenage lovers.
Mhm.
But the wives had to like do the laundry and stuff, but they could look a little if they wanted on the side. That
Okay.
that was within the rules. So
Okay.
then when the Christian church came around like 2000 years after the first marriages,
Sure.
you get JC and everything, and JC is like, we need more rules here. You can't just be going around on the side banging teenage boys and stuff. He's like, this ends now. We're done. So the Jews didn't have a wedding ceremony. Christians didn't have a wedding ceremony in the Bible. They just kind of made it up, and they're like, "Meh,
Yeah.
we're just making this is our thing now,
Yes. Yeah.
and we're angry. We're always angry." Then later down the line, when countries got powerful, like let's say America, they're like taxes and money. We want a hand in marriage too.
Yep.
So and now it's just like the law.
Yeah,
It's
government's involved.
now it's just like a legal contract essentially.
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
all marriage is now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does also help the knowing the kid's yours, ideally, right? I mean, that's still you still some benefit of it.
Yeah, that is a huge benefit. Except that the concubine thing sounds pretty chill, and I would be much more willing to get married if
If
concubines
you
were
kind of
still
do
like
something.
acceptable.
And I'm also thinking about something like, what if my son was not mine? I think there'd be certain scenarios I'd be okay with that. Like if his dad was, I don't, Michael Jordan or something, right? And all of
Yeah,
a
or
sudden he's
Michael B.
crazy
Jordan.
athletic. Michael B. Jordan. Well, I want some. No, I was talking about just Michael Jordan specifically because he was very
You
athletic.
saw it like
Somebody
LeBron
like,
James.
I just,
He's
but
the
LeBron
but his
James,
son didn't even turn out that good.
that's the problem. That, well, but
Yeah,
Michael Jordan also had sons that didn't do that good.
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Um,
he had one big son, one yoked son.
okay. So who's had a good gene
So
line?
Arnold, oh, the Hemsworth line.
Okay, Hemsworth. Okay, yeah. What if exactly? If
Yeah,
I found out that my son was actually Hemsworth, I'm like, you know what, Amy, I get
I
it.
get it.
Like,
Thank
that's
you.
fine. So I think in
Thank
certain scenarios
He
I'd be
comes out
okay with it.
surfing and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. You're the calls, dude. Yeah. So anyway, I can see both sides.
Okay. So yeah, that's basically, a very brief marriage history.
Yeah, Chubb history.
Um, Chubb history. Every time you look up a story about ancient Greece, they're always banging teenage boys. It's
And
just what they
but that at the time that was like they obviously didn't see an issue with it. That was just like part of culture. And
yeah.
clearly like
happened. And
like
now
there's
now we're just like, what the hell?
yeah, now you look back, you're like, actually, that's really bad.
Yeah, you can't
And
just
it's just interesting that
be out
that's
there doing that.
yeah, it's actually not good that you're doing that. Okay, Steed, I've got some, you talk about Greece traditions. I've got some more modern traditions. Some of these are a little older. Most of these are fairly new. Ready for these?
Okay.
Mexico and Nigeria, they do
Ooh,
a money dance a lot of times.
weird combo. Weird combo.
Both these countries, not sure the relation of these two. They both do a version of a money dance. So it's basically like, you're walking down, they're doing a little dance, and people are just tossing dollar bills at them. It's essentially
Oh my
a
God.
strip club where they're keeping their clothes on.
Okay. This is how
And
you get people on a dance floor.
well, exactly, right? And then and then that money goes towards their, you know, honeymoon or wedding expenses. I mean, if I was giving like, let's say I'm giving $100 gift, and if I got 50 of that in singles that I'm throwing at them, I might be doing a $200 gift. I might double what I would normally give as a
Hmm.
gift
Yeah.
if all of
Oh
a sudden
yeah.
I could use some of it to throw at the bride and groom.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I want to
You
watch
talk
him pick it up too.
That's what I want. I would love to, they would have to pick it up. I do not want somebody sweeping that up. I don't want like their
No.
wedding planner sweeping it up. They have to
Mm-mm.
get the actual money.
Yeah.
Okay. Greek, going back to the Greeks here, Steve. A more modern one. The best man shaves the groom.
Where?
Usually facials. But
Oh,
to be
okay.
fair, I mean, like I'm assuming if you're the groom, you could be like, hey, face is fine. Down
Keep
low in
going.
trouble.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep.
I'm assuming you could
I
really depends on
There's still hair, brother.
but you're keeping if somebody's shaving you, this might be the straight razor. It's like how much do you trust your best
You got to
man?
trust your best man. If he should not be your best man if you can't trust him
Yeah.
to,
M-
shave your
My dad
thigh.
always tells the story. I think it was about, around his wedding time, that he went in to get into a straight razor shave, and the guy had just had a stroke, and he had a wobbly hand. Like
Oh my.
if I butchered that story, you let me know. But yeah, it literally was. I believe I just remember him telling. He's like, I'm good."
Yeah. Wait, why did I come in here? Ah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay, so here's a couple ones from India, and we're going to talk a little more about India later. One, Steed, is they both put wedding rings in a thing of rice. The first one that finds the wedding ring is supposed to be like the head of the household.
Yeah, I
Here's a
mean, that's what I do with my iPhone.
exactly. Exactly.
Sorry. Sorry. I
This
have
is
a
a
really sore spot against India right now because
yes,
I spent a lot of today blocking IP addresses on our company's website and
good.
They're setting up countermeasures for being hacked specifically by Indian people.
That's fair. Here's one more Indian one. This is an old school one. This one doesn't really happen anymore. So traditionally Hindus had something where you could not marry three times. So to avoid
Oh, that's
this,
a good rule.
anyone who had been widowed twice and wanted to look
Mm.
for a new wife or husband, they had to first marry a shada tree,
Oh,
which
a
was
tree?
then, so they technically married a tree, and
Hmm.
then they would cut that tree down. So now
Ah.
that marriage is over. So they got married technically a fourth time, and the fourth time was fine, apparently. It was just some unlucky thing with getting married three times.
That's like in Reno. They put me on the 13th floor of the hotel.
It actually
You
had a
know,
13?
yeah. And I was on it.
Wow.
And I was like, actually, I was like, I got my key card, go in the elevator, and then when I pushed 13, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? And then I
Never
lost all
see
my
Build a
money.
13.
I lost all my money.
Of course, they screwed you. So
Yeah,
anyway,
they screwed
I
me.
love these workaround laws. Like they make this kind of rule and then they make up a rule that gets around it. It's just like get rid of the rule.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sweden, Steve, this is one you would like. This is when the bride steps away, other women can seize the moment to give the groom a friendly peck. The bride can also have
Oh,
guests give her a kiss when the groom is away.
oh my God. That's horrible. That would cause so many problems.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's
oh,
just a
so
recipe for disaster.
you're just
Like,
weddings off. Both of them left. Both of them
yeah.
realized that their, closest friend was actually in love with them and that they are
Well,
both leaving.
of course, it's going to be like somebody like you're going to be like, "Oh my God, she kissed you. I know you always thought she was hot." Like
Yeah.
they're just asking for
And he's
trouble.
like, well, you kissed uh Frederick. You were out. I saw you kiss Frederick.
I only
I don't
kissed
know
her because you kissed
Sweden.
her. Yeah, exactly. Uh, asking for trouble.
I don't know. I don't know what Sweden does.
Congo, Stephen, Congo. They take it very
Okay.
serious, so no smiling during the wedding for the bride and groom.
Mm. Mm-mm. No way. That was like at the last wedding we were at. I'm in there chit chatting and people are like, shh, shut up. And I'm like, there's nobody even coming out yet. You shut up.
It's not like they're doing their vows. It's like they're literally just didn't want to no talking around them.
Yeah. I'm like,
Weird.
Ease up.
Yeah.
All right. Wedding Nazi, wedding Hitler.
Yeah.
I'm having fun out here. I've had like 15 drinks already. I had to ride a bus to get here.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be jaw
Uh,
jacking. Yeah, there was a camera right behind me, and I hope they heard everything.
Scotland. This is an older one. Blackening, it's called. I kind of originally thought this was going to be worse than it was.
Yeah.
This is they get captured by the friends, which you might have heard something like this happens. But then they cover them in food or a variety of other things, preferably adhesives.
Oh God.
Then they publicly parade them throughout the community for other people to see. Then they are often driven in the back of like a truck with a bunch of banging pots and pans
Oh yeah.
just to like parade them around and
What?
say, hey, they're about to get married.
Oh, they get the girl too? I thought this was like
The
a
bride and
bachelor
groom,
thing.
bride and or groom.
Oh my
Yeah, so it could be
God.
both. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh, kind of just a weird one. Not
That's kind
really.
of a weird one.
Yeah.
I like it
Okay.
though. That's fun.
This next one is very emotional in China. This is
Ooh.
it's certain groups in China, right? This is not China as a whole. So every bride has to cry at her wedding ceremony.
You better.
Otherwise, the bride's neighbors will look down upon her as a poorly cultivated girl, and she will become the laughing stock of the village. So
Wow.
you basically a new bride should begin to cry a half a month or a month before her wedding ceremony. Basically, the amount she can cry and if she can cry is determines the value of her as a wife.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, after
Yeah.
watching
And
Mulan, there is a matchmaking wife scene.
and then it's yeah, and then exactly. And then at some point they like the mom starts crying and the grandma start crying. It's like every
Hmm.
girl in this whole thing starts crying in it, which just sounds so much fun.
Sounds like a lot of. I mean, China's never had anything that's not fun.
Yeah.
Hey, you go to China and everything's just whoopee woohoo. Especially if you live there and work for
Ex-
Timu.
The last one here that I have in Indonesia, the Tidong tribe, which is in Indonesia and Malaysia, they have a wedding ritual
Okay.
where the newlyweds are forbidden from using a toilet for 3 days.
No.
Ensures a strong marriage and protects them from negative energy.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I still don't know if that's possible. Like, I don't.
Well, you got to poop outside. You got to poop in the woods.
Yeah. So,
Honestly, an Indonesian toilet can't be that much different than just the ground. Ayo. Sorry,
yeah.
Indonesia.
Well,
That
I
was
mean,
uncalled for. That was
yeah,
uncalled
it
for.
was. Yeah. So, those are a couple ones around the world.
Okay, that
Some
was really
strange.
fun.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to get married at the most?
I think if I had to pick one of these, ooh, the Sweden one's risky
Yeah,
because
it's risky.
that um I mean money dance probably. I'll have people chucking money at me.
Yeah. I want the Chinese one where all the girls are crying because I'm so handsome.
Yeah. Good. I like that. I like that.
Like, oh wow, it's so handsome. It
They're
sounds
crying
fun.
because you're so handsome, you think?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that would just be a nice gesture to me.
I agree. I agree. We can
Yeah.
still, yeah. It's find a Chinese girl.
Yep. Okay. Jay, if you were to have a wedding, which you have, and you were to have a celebrity guest at that wedding, I'm wondering who do you think would be the perfect celebrity guest
Hmm.
to just pop in or just be a part of the wedding?
Who seems like a lot of fun? Jack Black.
Jack Black?
Yeah, that's what I
You
think
don't
I'd
think
pick.
he'd take over?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because you don't want somebody that's going to be like the star of the show.
Yeah, I mean Jack Black's gonna like do a full stand-up comedy routine probably.
You're right. And then the focus is going to be off of us.
hmm He's gonna
Oh,
get
valid.
drunk. He's gonna break some tables.
Okay, so somebody who's subtle enough is still going to give you the credit,
Yeah.
but is nice and fun. Because you also don't want them being too wild.
hmm I'll tell you who
Um,
my perfect guest would
yeah,
be.
let's hear yours. Let's hear yours.
Kate Middleton.
Okay. Okay.
She knows class. Okay. She
Okay.
knows elegance. She knows formal dancing.
Okay. Okay, good.
And she would just bring like an air of royalty to the whole affair. People would say, wow, is that Kate Middleton? As she swings her hair across her
Yeah.
shoulders. Just not glitter on her face, but something shiny. Could it be
Yeah.
her? Could it just be her skin, her pores? I don't know. Wow, what a sight to behold. Everyone's clapping at
What
her
a
every
sight.
movement.
What a sight. Beautiful.
Yeah. So, yeah, so I'm
Is
going
it
Kate Middleton.
is there okay, good. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean like it's so hard to argue with that. That's a great answer. Um, I would probably go Keanu Reeves then. How about Keanu?
Yeah, I was thinking about for some reason my mind did just go to him when I thought about this. It's like he's so down to earth and chill.
He'd be chill. He'd
hmm
be classy. He dresses nice.
Yeah.
I feel like he would talk to people, but he'd still be quiet.
Yeah, he'd have like genuine conversations with
Yes.
people.
Yes.
You're
I
like,
think
who's
that's my
my
answer.
grandma?
Yeah, yeah. Can you talk to my grandma?
No, you wouldn't
My
have to ask
grandma's
him.
a
He'd
big
just be
fan.
talking to your
You're
grandma.
right. You're right. You look over and he's talking to grandma. Yeah, you're
You'd
right.
be like,
Unprompted.
wow, World War II must have sucked.
Okay. Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
okay.
a musical guest. So, I mean, my backup plan, if I
Yes.
had a guest at a wedding, it would be Nicki Minaj. And this would be a fake wedding set up so that Nicki Minaj would be there.
Okay.
And then I would be alone in a room with Nicki Minaj. Like I'd, somehow lock her, not lock her, but like corner her, like fun, like sheepish. I don't like
Yeah.
we'd end up in the same room where
Okay.
we were alone.
Sure.
And then I just have my time to be like, Nicki Minaj, I love you. Um, this wedding should be us, blah blah blah. Ditch the zero, get with the hero. Me and Nicki Minaj, we ride away from the wedding.
Is she married?
She's married to I believe, former sex offender.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I think I got this.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, good luck.
Thanks.
You're tricking Nicki Minaj to marry you while she's married. Okay.
I don't think you should be butting in when I'm talking to my team. You're my assistant, okay? You're supposed to back me up and go get me juice boxes when I tell you. Now go get me a juice box.
You know who you're talking to?
I'm talking to the juice box guy.
You're crazy.
I'm not crazy. I'm just thirsty.
Why don't you go to hell?
No, you go to hell. While you're there, why don't you grab me a juice box?
Steve, I'm going to talk some money here, and I'm going to talk
Okay.
the most expensive weddings.
Oh my God, this crazy Indian one. Or was it
Well,
Chinese?
That's actually, the Indian one is actually number 2. That just happened this year, or last year,
Well,
2024.
Yeah, I remember all the buzz.
But the most expensive wedding, we're talking Russians in back-to-back weeks here. I'm talking about
No way.
Khadija Uzhakovs and
Oh, yeah.
Gustarevs said Gustarevs. I don't know
Yeah.
these Russian names. I can't
Huge
even pretend.
Khadija fan. Huge Khadija
Anyway,
fan.
it's the heiress to a Russian oil, merchant guy.
Yeah, so it's just a Russian mob.
It's basically a Russian mob. And March 26th, 2016, in Moscow,
Wow.
cost $1 billion.
Oh yeah, nothing better that money could have been used for.
Yeah. So here's some of the things that happened. I tried to find there's no public photos of the exclusive event because there's no video. I tried to find videos. There's a few little pictures I found, but I don't know how they got there. Anyway, they got transported in Bentleys. They obviously crazy, ornate everything. The wedding dress covered in ornate beading weighed 28 pounds. It had a 9-foot
Is that
wedding
a lot?
cake.
A
28
what?
pounds for one piece of clothing is a lot. Yeah, 9-foot wedding cake, Steed. Here's the entertainment for the
Whoa.
thing. Enrique Iglesias, Sting,
Oh, nice.
and Jennifer Lopez.
Wow, I still don't see where the $1 billion is.
And then they had a display of fireworks. They
Okay.
had a custom jeweled boxes as favorite gifts.
Okay.
And yeah, as I mentioned, Steve, Jennifer Lopez did a
How much
appearance
is
at
she
this
pulling?
wedding.
500 mil?
They said Jennifer Lopez alone is believed to hover around 1 million per hour for private events.
Okay, well, I'm not keeping her around for $1 billion is still a long ways away
Hey,
from
here's
Jennifer
the
Lopez
picture I
money.
have. Here's the picture.
She could have
when
played
you
for
search this wedding.
999 hours.
This is what they claim, right? But who knows if this is part of the venue here.
Whoa.
But
Okay, that looks sick.
it looks sick, but again, because there's no pictures, people don't really. There's a Sting. At this wedding. Jennifer Lopez at the wedding. Steve, do you know who Jennifer Lopez was married to?
Oh my God, I do.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
It
Right
worked out
there
pretty
in my
good.
face. Didn't even see it. I didn't even
This
see
one
it.
worked out pretty good.
Wow.
So those are the most expensive weddings so typically they say the most expensive weddings are either in Spain, Italy, or the US. Those are the countries that average the most expensive weddings. But within the US, the most expensive weddings are people from the Indian nationality.
Wow.
So the typical Indian wedding ranges from $75,000 to $150,000.
Oh my God.
Now, they say that, and part of this, Steve, is because they're longer weddings. So like them and Russian weddings go from 3 to 5 days.
Oh God, that's a long time.
Between the pre-ritual and the actual ceremony.
Gotta have
It
a
depends on the
pre-ritual.
region and who's doing it exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, they were saying for a wedding of 300 guests, the average cost is around $120,000 to $300,000 for an Indian
Okay.
wedding.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I actually really
Reasonable.
want to be invited to one. I don't want to host. I don't want to ever be the one paying for an Indian wedding, but I would definitely like to attend one if somebody wants to invite me.
Well, I can't say that they know, my brother. What a tie.
Jay, I want to talk a wedding true crime. Quick wedding true crime.
Oh, yes. I was thinking about this. I'm glad I didn't look one up.
Okay, yeah, there's a ton of them because they
Yes.
bring out some emotions in people.
That makes sense.
Yeah, this is from 2019. Two brothers were sentenced for 18 years in the murder of a groom at a wedding reception in
Oh, God.
California. Here's how this went down. It's kind of crazy. Um, there was a wedding. Joe and Esther, they got married.
Okay.
They go back to their house to do a little wedding ceremony. They got a DJ, dance floor, photo booth, mariachi band.
Sure.
You know, it's popping. Then these two brothers who aren't even invited, but live nearby, they show up and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go to
Wedding
the wedding."
crashers.
Yeah, they're like, it's a party, whatever. We're gonna go to the party. They got a mariachi band. I get it. They're there. They're mingling. They leave. It's not clear if they were kicked out or not.
Sure.
But they did return later with some baseball bats.
Okay.
And then they didn't go back into the party. They stood on another side of a fence and they were like, "Hey, come on this side of the fence." So the people in the party were like, "Okay." So they cross the fence. Some type of brawl breaks out. The two brothers start just bashing dudes, with the bats, and they're punching them. Somebody manages to get one of the bats. The groom chases the two guys who start running away once the bats are gone. Like one bat's gone, and they're like, "We got to get out of here. We're getting our asses kicked."
Yeah.
The groom chases him down, and none of his friends followed him. They killed him with the one remaining bat, which is a no-no. You gotta make sure your boys are with you when you go
Yeah.
to
What
do
are
a.
the groomsmen?
I don't know. Apparently, see, this is why I'm saying you got to pick them carefully.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So he chased him down, ends up getting beaten to death. The two brothers run away. Then they're later picked up by the police, and the police are like, "Hey, were you at this wedding?" And they're like, "No." And they're like, "Okay, well, when we searched you, we found this picture from the photo booth of you in their house at the wedding party." And they're like, "Oh shit."
Oh my God.
So yeah, they're pretty guilty.
Busted by the wedding. Yeah, the wedding photo booth.
Yeah, that's why never take a picture at a crime
True.
scene.
God, I
So
really wonder why those guys weren't invited in the first place.
they seem like really fun.
Yeah.
No. Well, we have to be careful what we say about true crime stuff because people will comment really mean stuff about it
Right.
on our website. So, anywho, if you're at a wedding, don't bring baseball bats.
Maybe we do a future true crime one on another wedding. So, because, like you said, this one is
They said they were
ridiculous.
not at the wedding, and then they just had a picture of themselves at the wedding in their
Yes.
pocket.
Yeah, this one's ridiculous. Steed, I'm going to talk about what is some call the wedding, the night of 1,000 weddings.
Whoa.
Now, was there actually that many? There was not. But
Oh.
this has to do with our boy LBJ, Lyndon Baines
No
Johnson.
way Lyndon is making it back in the Chubstep episode here.
Yeah. So April 26, 1965, LBJ decides to put a executive order in place that even if you are married, you can still be eligible for the Vietnam draft, the NAM draft, if you will. So
Okay.
basically the way it worked is they said certain things were excluded from being drafted. Like if you were a doctor or a farmer, if you were
Yeah.
married, if you had kids, things like if you were in college. And then they're like, once all those people get drafted, then we'll go to the next level and the next level. Basically, it's it starts going up. They need more people for the war effort. And they're like, all right, well, even if you're married, you can still be sent over. So, but they said this goes into effect at midnight. Now, most places you want to get married, you need to have like a blood test, or you need to have all this documentation, all that kind of stuff.
What? You need a
Steed,
blood test to get married?
to prove you're not really anymore. I don't think I had to get a blood test, but you had to have
What the
like
hell?
Amy had to prove basically we weren't cousins or something like that when we got married in
Oh, that's
Wisconsin.
bullshit.
But they want to do stuff that prove that you're not like related. Um, so Steed, where's the place you know that people get married very quickly?
I'm
That
just
clearly
still
doesn't
pissed off
have
about
this.
the blood test thing.
Yeah. Well, that's not really a thing anymore.
What
Or
I
maybe
mean,
it is
what
in
do they
certain
think
states.
like before you get married? They're like nothing. Nobody ever does stuff before they get married. We gotta test them now. Well, come on.
Yeah,
I'm
this
not
is
giving
probably an
my
old
blood. They
thing.
can
This is
suck
at the
it out
time.
of
This
me.
is in the 60s. Some states
Okay.
had this.
Anyways.
Steve, what is a
Anyways, Reno,
state
Nevada. Reno, Nevada.
Nevada more specifically. People go to
Yeah.
Las Vegas. That's the classic Elvis marriage thing, right?
Yeah.
So clearly those state laws are not in effect where you need to have like all the stuff in place before you get married. So, um, in a courthouse that typically handles 10 to 12 weddings a night, there was 171 ceremonies
Oh my
in a
God.
single day. 112 of those took place between 10 p.m. and midnight. So this
People just
this
like, oh shit, oh shit, oh
well,
shit.
they're basically like, yeah, if I get married, then I can still get it's basically your grandfather then.
The draft immunity
The
or
draft
whatever.
community, you're draft dodging. You're draft dodging at this point, which hey, people don't want to get drafted to
No,
the war.
nope, that's the rules. I respect it.
Yes. So anyway, people are flying in from neighboring states, driving in from all over, trying to get to Las Vegas in
Oh
time
my
to get
God.
this marriage. Um, so much so that like like apparently zero people were wearing wedding dresses. There was one girl that had a veil that was passing it around from girl to girl. Like each every time you got married,
Oh
you
my
put on the
God.
veil and you did
Nice.
that. They
Oh,
yeah,
that's
they had
funny.
like they didn't have rings, so they were using like alternative meanings for rings. Um, they apparently towards the end when it's getting like late, 11:50-ish, they just put a blanket over the clock, or put something over the clock so they
Oh,
technically
so they
didn't
can keep
know,
doing them.
so they could keep doing them, and in the
Oh
eyes of
my
the law, like
God.
it
That's
technically it
great.
wasn't midnight yet because nobody was seeing what time it was.
Yeah.
Between around August 26th, marriages among young men 18 to 26 increased by over 350%. So,
Yeah,
so basically,
I
everybody's
get
like,
that.
let's just get married. Night of a thousand marriages. It wasn't actually that amount, but
You know what? I respect it.
yeah, a pretty crazy thing.
I respect it big time. It sounds fun.
It does sound fun. Hey, we've been dating. There was apparently a lot of people that dated like a couple weeks, a couple days. People that were just kind of friends, just getting married, just so that they could
I'd be
get out
like,
of the.
you need to save my life.
Well, that's what they're kind of doing. Do you care about me? Like they talk about the
Yeah.
story of
Oh, you
this
don't
guy
care
who
about? You want me to
it,
die in the jungle?
exactly, exactly. They've been dating 4 weeks. And they're like, hey, yeah, if you care about me, we should get married right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's funny. Well, good for them.
yeah. Uh,
Okay, so that's the quickest marriages,
yes.
Jay. What about the quickest or shortest marriages? You want to go on some of the shortest marriages of all time?
So there's marriages, so not the ceremony, but the actual marriage themselves. Yes, let's hear it.
Yeah. Okay, so you got Pam Anderson and John Peters. They lasted
Mm,
5 days. Or sorry, 12 days. 12 days.
okay,
We all know Pam Anderson. John Peters, he's a film producer. They
okay.
married in 2020. This was recent. And
Oh,
then they were just like, well, that sucked. Let's just be friends.
interesting. You think you would have figured that out? Like,
Yeah.
I'm so curious what would have happened post marriage that like changed it that much. Especially because in 2020 she was not young.
No, but she looks good. This guy's not young either.
No, but I'm saying it's not like
He's
she's
another
like
old
18
bro.
and like not knowing what marriage is.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they've been friends since the 80s. I guess maybe they tried it. Maybe they banged once and they were like, oh, oh, whoa. Didn't like that.
Yeah. I feel
You
like
know,
they
you
might
gotta
have
be
done that
compatible.
before that wedding. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Well, okay, you know who was shorter? Carmen Electra and Dennis Rodman. They were married for 9 days.
Yes.
Um, 9 days.
Yeah.
They get married in Las Vegas, whirlwind romance,
Yeah.
fueled by passion. And
Yes.
then 9 days later, Dennis Rodman claimed he was not of sound mind when they got married, and
I
he filed for an annulment, and an annulment was given.
I think that I think he ended up getting cheated on, or she cheated on him, I believe. At one point
Within
I
the
heard a
nine
story with,
days.
I don't know if it was within their wedding or before that, and they just still got married. Who knows? I heard a story of Rodman talking, and she walked in on him with like two girls. And he said, like, his excuse is
Yeah.
that, oh, they just fell from the ceiling, like, like something like that. I don't know if it
Oh
was
my
right
God.
after where, who knows, like if that happened, they got back together, or this was during the right, who knows what the situation was. But I heard Rodman telling that story one time.
Hmm.
Okay,
Wow.
yeah, that's a pretty short one.
Okay.
9 days.
Well,
Is assuming they were on a honeymoon. That
yeah,
might
it
have
gets
even been
shorter.
the whole time the honeymoon. Okay.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage and
Yeah.
Erica Quick. This is 2019. Didn't Had no idea Nick Cage. He seems like he should have been married since like 1993, but
Yep.
he got married in 2019 for 4 days to a makeup
Okay.
artist. Uh, later, 4 days later, it got annulled because Nicolas Cage said both him and Quake were extremely intoxicated, not in clear state of mind. He also discovered certain issues about Quake's past that contributed to his decision making to get an annulment.
Wow. So, okay, if they were, but they couldn't have
Yeah,
been drunk. Was it like a Las Vegas wedding or something? Because like if you had to plan a wedding, you can't be drunk the whole time.
it must have been.
Okay.
I have no clue. I don't know. It's Nick Cage, man.
Yeah, I know. He's a crazy man.
Okay. Yeah, these next ones are shockingly short. Britney Spears, Alexander, not the Seinfeld guy, just some dweeb.
Okay.
They got married in
I would have
Vegas
loved to see
in
that wedding.
2000. I know. But I mean, she could have put up with him for 55 hours. That's how long this marriage lasted. Um, it was a childhood friend of Britney Spears, and they said they were just kind of being silly, and then they got it annulled.
Okay.
55 hours. So the shortest marriage, this is a Kuwaiti couple.
Okay.
What do you think the shortest marriage we got on record?
Well, I mean, if the wedding is, let's say the wedding's like, I mean, like, the one I was just at last weekend, it was 4 p.m. started, and I left at like 2:30 a.m. But that would be like long scenario. But I mean, what's that, 10 hours?
Hmm.
Let's say a normal wedding is maybe
Hmm.
6 hours. I'm gonna say they got like
Yeah.
8 hours is the shortest wedding, shortest marriage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little long. This was shortest marriage in history is 3 minutes long.
Wait, what? How does that make sense?
So, bride and a groom got married at a courthouse in Kuwait.
Yeah.
They get married. As they're walking out of the courthouse, the bride trips and falls. And instead of helping her up, the groom called her a fool,
Oh my God.
embarrassed her in front of her family and friends. The bride is just like, you know what? Screw this. I'm done. And she just walked back inside.
Amazing.
got
Amazing.
got divorced. three
That's
minutes later.
incredible.
So, honestly, good for them.
Yeah.
I probably would have like ended the relationship before you would have to go through all that paperwork, but 3 minutes. Now you're in a record book. I
Yeah.
bet I could do it faster.
Yeah, at that point, like if you're doing that, just do it with a minute. I mean, just try to get literally the shortest. As soon as the thing ends,
Yeah, like
just
I
put
do.
you both
Sign
got
it. Sign it. No,
divorced.
no, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna divorce. And you have like a marriage counselor. She's like, I think we can fix it. You're like, no, we can't fix it. We can't
Divorce,
fix
divorce,
it.
divorce, divorce. I
I'm
mean,
gonna go. I'm gonna go. You can't do it. Can't do it.
you might
And
as well
they're
just
like,
do it just
time.
to
22 seconds.
At that point, you got to just set the record. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I'm going
okay.
for it next year, I think.
That's yeah. Love it. There we go, Steed. That's marriage.
Yeah.
That's weddings.
I
mean,
think
it was
that's
really
marriage.
more about the weddings.
That's weddings.
I mean, we did get in a little bit of marriages, which
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
result of weddings, but in general, that was
yeah.
pretty
It's
good
like the
deep
same
dive into
shit.
weddings. We could have kept going.
Mhm.
Again, you could do 2 or 3
Yeah, I could go
podcasts
for
on weddings.
hours and hours and
Yeah.
hours. But until those Vita Coco dollars start coming in, I'm not
Yeah.
going to do this for hours and hours and hours.
Good point. Good point. We're not
Okay.
getting paid enough for that. So
That's a
capital
warning.
J
That's a warning to
R A
people out
D
there.
Z 50 JRAD Z50 50% off new customers Vita
Mhm.
Coco.
Yep, we're not doing 30 anymore.
No, 50
20 more percent. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, what a deal.
What a deal.
I keep
What a deal.
getting fake IDs and changing my name and getting new addresses just so I can keep using this deal.
I wonder if there's a limit on how much you order. I've never even tried. It's worth a shot.
Oh, there's a limit. There's a limit.
Nice. All
52
right, we'll wrap it up there,
cases.
people. Evo the show, chubstep.podcast@gmail.com. Rate the show on Spotify, YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. Doing all those thumbnails there. Not all the people watch us on YouTube, but it is fun. It's a good experience. It's a good experience.
It's fun.
Like
I'm gonna have a
us,
new. I'm
subscribe
gonna
to
be
us
in a
on
new
YouTube.
environment next episode. So
And see
be
a new
ready.
environment,
Wardrobe
new
change.
background. Yes, good.
Mhm.
Love that. Better internet, probably.
You're gonna be able to see trains. I'll show you a train and homeless people out the window.
Good. Good.
That's
good.
what
Glad to
people
hear
like.
that. Yeah. Nice. All right, Steed. Well, I will the show has ended.
Yep.
Be gone.
Now you know you got to go.
Peace. This is Yasin.